Welcome back. This is Professor Ridge, and today's lesson is on section 8.7, more about graphing functions. If you recall, we left off graphing parabolas or quadratic equations, and now I want to talk about how to get it in this form. Okay, so it's the same old technique of completing the square. However, we're going to, instead of adding to both sides, we're going to add it, subtract it immediately from one side. So let me show you what I mean. So if you recall, when we complete the square, you take the middle term, the 8, and divide by 2. So that's 4. And then you square 4 is 16, and then you subtract it. So the plus 16 minus 16 is 0, so we get the original equation, x squared minus 8x plus 2. But the first three terms becomes the x minus 4 squared. This is the x squared minus 8x plus 16. And then we're left over negative 14. So now my vertex is going to be 4, negative 14, x symmetry is going to be equal to, it's the equation, x equals the x coordinate. And then of course the shape be y equals x squared. Alright, and we won't graph this one. Just practicing, put it in the right form. Alright, let's try another one. How about number 16? So we've got f of x equals negative 2x squared minus 8x plus 4. Now in this one, if the first term is not, if a is not 1, if it's anything other than that, you got to factor the a out of the first two terms. So this would be negative 2, you factor it out, so that would be x squared. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4x. Now we're going to do the completing the square. Then we leave the plus 4 out to the side. Okay, so here's where we're going to complete the square. You're going to take half of the middle term, divide by 2, so it'll be x plus 2. Square it, that'll be 4, so you add it, subtract it. Now from here, we got to distribute this negative 2 to both of these things. So we're going to get negative 2, parenthesis, x plus 2 squared plus 8 plus the 4 that was left out before. And then just add the 8 with the 4, and that gets you 12. And then from here, our vertex is going to be negative 2, 12. Axis is symmetry. Will be x equals negative 2, and then the shape of the graph is y equals negative 2x squared. So this one will open down. Going to be skinnier than the basic y equals x squared. Alright. So that's the technique by completing the square. And of course, there's actually a shortcut, and we can kind of do it just like we did with making the quadratic formula, and you put in a, b, and c. And basically, okay, I'm not going to show you how to derive it, but if you were to follow through with these steps and complete the square like we did with number 16, what we're going to get is you're going to get this. The vertex is going to be, so I think of this as a shortcut for the vertex. Vertex HK. H is going to be equal to the opposite of B over 2A, and K is going to be equal to F of negative B over 2A. Okay, let's try one of these. So let's look at 16. So H is going to be opposite of B over 2A. Let's see, B is negative 8. 2 times negative 2. So that's going to give me 8 over negative 4, which is negative 2. And K is going to be equal to F of negative 2. We plug that in. Negative 2 squared minus 8 times negative 2 plus 4. Punch that in your calculator. Negative 8 plus 16 plus 4, which is 12. So our vertex is negative 2, 12. Just like we found for 16, but a lot quicker. And then once you know the vertex, the shape is still y equals ax squared, so you just ignore the bx and the c, and it's pretty much straight from there. Okay, so let's try number 32. We want to find the vertex x symmetry, and we're going to graph the function. So first step, the vertex, and we'll use the shortcut formula, minus b over 2a, and f of minus b over 2a. So basically you find out what the x-coordinate is, h, and then plug it in and see what the y-coordinate is. So let's see. Minus b over 2a is negative 6 over 2 times negative 3, which is 1. And then k is f of 1. So negative 3 times 1 plus 6 times 1 plus 2. So that's negative 3 plus 6, which is 5. So my vertex is 1, 5. X symmetry goes through the x-coordinate. X equals 1. Now I'm going to graph it. Now this is, for the way I graph, y equals negative 3x squared. So it's going to open down. I do my base graph. X squared, y equals x squared times negative 3. 1 squared is 1 times negative 3. 2 squared is 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. So I won't graph that point. And then of course we got the mirror image. Alright, let me set up the graph. Okay, so let's see. We're going to plot, what was my x-intercept? 1, 5. Oh, I didn't make this graph big enough. Okay, let me try again. Okay, so the vertex is 1, 5, so I'm put it up there. Axis of symmetry is x equals 1. I'm going to pretend that the vertex 1, 5 is the origin, 0, 0. I'm going to plot 0, 0. And I'm going to plot these things, x, y. 0, 0, 1, counting from here, from 1, 5, go to right 1, down 3. So it's that point, mirror image. And we go back to 0, 0, 0, which is my pretend 0, 0, which is at 1, 5. And from there I'm going to count over 2 down 12, which is way down. So I'm not going to plot it. I'm just going to kind of have an image that it's going way down there. There you go. So that's y equals negative 3x squared plus 6x plus 2. So it's a parabola that opens downward and the vertex is at 1, 5. Okay, so if we have a quadratic equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now if a is greater than 0, this first number, if the leading coefficient's positive, that tells you that the parabola opens up. And if it opens up, that means the vertex is going to be at the bottom, so you'll have a minimum function value at the vertex. And it's the y value that's the minimum value. The x value is where it happens, and the y value is the minimum function value. Okay? Now if we turn that around, if a is so if a is negative, a is less than 0, then the parabola would open downward, and this vertex point would be a maximum value. Okay, the maximum value would be the y value again, and the x value is where it happens. Okay, so the max value occurs at the vertex, and it's whatever that y value is. All right, let's look at an example. Find the maximum value of the function f of x equals negative 4x cubed, or 4x squared, sorry, minus 16x plus minus 13. Okay, so remember, maximum minimum values happens at the vertex. This is a parabola that's opening down, so we're going to get a maximum value at the vertex. So first, let's figure out the vertex. So the h coordinate is minus b over 2a, which is minus a negative 16, so it's positive 16, over 2 times negative 4, which is 16 over negative 8, which is negative 2. And then the y value, Ka, is f of negative 2, which is negative 4 times negative 2 squared, minus 16 times negative 2, minus 13. So that's 4, negative 16, plus 32, minus 13. Which is negative 29. Let's see, wait a minute here. That's positive 16 minus 13, which is 3. Sorry. So this has a maximum value at 3. Or it has a maximum value. Again, it's the y-coordinate is 3. Maximum function value. Now, what gives you the maximum of 3? That's the x-coordinate, which would be negative 2. Okay, so the max value is 3. And then if the leading term was positive, then it would give you a minimum value, because it would open up, and the vertex would be a minimum. Okay, so, and then the last thing in this section is finding X and Y-intercepts. Basically what you do is you're going to find X-intercepts. It's the old trick of, well, you know X-intercepts is some number X, but Y has to be 0. So you're going to let Y equal 0, which in this case is f of x, and solve for x. So the 3 possibilities for parabolas is you can get 2 x-intercepts, something like this. You'll get 2. If it opens completely, if it's all the way above, you get 0 x-intercepts. And if it just touches it and bounces back up, you'll get one x-intercept. Okay, so those are the three cases. So you can cross it 0 times, once, or twice. So let's see here. We're going to put in 0 for y. Are there factors of 3 that add to 6? No. So we've got to do quadratic formula. So x is opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So that would be 6 plus or minus square root of 36 minus 12 all over 2, which would get us 6 plus or minus square root of 24, which simplifies to 2 square root of 6. And then I'm going to factor 2 out and cancel it with 2 on the bottom, so it'll be 3 plus or minus square root of 6. Okay, so our x-intercepts are 3 plus square root of 6, comma 0, and 3 minus square root of 6, comma 0. Now y-intercept, that's the easy one. You're going to let, that's 0 b, so we're going to let x equals 0 and solve for y. So we got, basically we're going to plug in 0 for x, which equals 3. So the y-coordinate is 3 when x is 0. X is 0, y is 3. And so we got the 2 x-intercepts and the 1 y-intercept. Alright, so that concludes the lesson for 8.7. Go to my math lab, complete your exercises there, and I'll see you next time.